All right. So we had the monthly close last week. So let's get these higher time frame gaps on there. Let's do monthly. Now we can save these as I just need to simplify this as boom. Maybe that's a little too far out. All right, we've got a monthly. And there. Why is it so dark? I can't remember. Have I been doing white? Yeah, I have. Okay. All right. I'm gonna check out both of these. But anyways, we've got one on ES after a large one there. And now we've got one here on NASDAQ too. Don't have one on the Dow. So yeah, we've continued to expand higher, obviously. Weekly, we even had the new week opening gap up with inefficiency all the way down. So I might actually mark that out as the weekly. See if I have it already on here. I need to freaking reorganize that. Weekly. Got a weekly there. Got a weekly there. Don't have one on Russell. It's been completely rebalanced. Except we do have this one here. Oops. Don't know what I just messed up. This new week opening gap never got traded to. So I'm actually going to highlight that in white. Oops. So yeah, everything's gapped up. YM came down and traded below the CE of that. Looks like ES did too, but NASDAQ didn't. So we've kind of got like a something going on there. This is actually a down close gap up candle. Yeah, that's basically it on the weekly. Unless you want to look back at this old new week opening gap. But we're really just worrying about this range, besides maybe Russell. But so far, we're just looking at this range. We've displaced higher on all of these, so retracement, but a continuation higher, still what we'd be looking for. Alright, quite the mess here. We've got an overlapping daily here. It was all the way up there. But yeah, it's basically the same as the weekly one on all of these, but I will highlight it. It's basically all the way up here on the daily. Multiple daily inefficiencies. We even had one up here on NASDAQ. And Russell, we've got a bullish one that got inverted. I should have just started from scratch. Let's mark out all the all-time highs that are relevant. Just the Russell one. I'm also going to do that here. Just because it's been tricky lately with where the highs are actually at. Alright, so yeah, daily still displacing higher. We traded into it, so we'll have to look. Yeah, so we did expand a bit higher. Yeah, here we go. So we did already come down into it. Now we're just trying to see if on the higher time frame this weekly inefficiency is going to hold. And yeah, if we're going to come down. So we did already come down into the new week opening gap. We already created some sort of SMT, at least with NASDAQ. Russell, different story. We actually gapped up and closed down, I think. Yeah. So we closed down here and then traded lower using the new week opening gap and then inverting the daily. But yeah, nothing to the downside. But now we do got some bearish inefficiencies. That one's already been traded to. We had this bearish inefficiency being respected. It's a little too light. Let's go darker there. So yeah, YM had relative equal lows, relative equal highs. We traded through both of them. These ones are not relevant. Now we've got support resistance liquidity here. So that's nice on ES. We're just working out all the levels right now. But yeah, we kind of respected this CE of the gap, it seems like. At least slightly. So yeah, we had no market structure shifts on the 4 hour. All this is constantly being rebalanced. Even Russell never had one. We did get one here, but those are things that are kind of tricky. So, all right, I need to write all this down. All right, so YM and ES both traded down the CE of the week opening gaps, whereas NQ didn't even get down there. No higher time frame market structure shifts to the downside yet. YM traded cleanly through the relative lows for a solid liquidity sweep. ES manufactured some support resistance liquidity at the New Gap area. Oh, sorry. NQ bullish looking SMT as well as not trading into the NWOG. Smooth lows look so far. High time frame. Russell's a bit complicated, so I'm just going to focus on these for now. So yeah, we got a very clear sweep. We've got SMT from the gap so far. You can see that. And we even have SMT here, ES. And obviously with YM. When we traded into the new week opening gap, we already got a nice solid move out of there that made a new all-time high. So that already played out, but then we came back down again and again. Sorry, we came down here, we got the move up, but we really diverged here. No, we got the move up in this move here. YM came lower, and then suddenly YM shifted way higher. It didn't take out this low. And I think that's exactly why. I think uh, we actually had a change in character with ES and NASDAQ. Let's see. At least with ES. So we had ES come lower. Boom, that gave Dow Jones a lot of strength all the way back up to the highs. And took out this concurrent high, stayed below the low, or the high. So it was taking out this high and then just sweeping all of the liquidity. Let's just look at it. Yeah, so it just was coming all the way up, taking out these trailed stops, balancing all of this, and then just held that order block. So yeah, I just went to the maximum paint. Um, but then yeah, then we rolled back over, made a new low. We're still above that new week opening gap. We've still kind of already used it on the long side. And this time ES is still, this time ES is actually in it too. But we do have a small SMT there. Um, this is all just noise now to me. But yeah, so there's something happening here. We already came below that low there. So yeah, we had some weird divergence here, right there. So maybe that's why we got this big move again. And they already made the move off that leg. We came all the way back down, made a new low. And then had a change in character here. So Dow Jones just got this super nice clean sweep, took out all these highs. Nice SMT there, at least with those guys. We'll look at that later for Russell. Excuse me. All right, so we've got the SMT here. It's honestly this high. Yeah, it's mainly just this high. So let's change that. So we got a nice divergence there. We had ES come up and trade into this 1 hour inefficiency. And NASDAQ, these are relative equal highs there. So it makes sense that ES would come and get that, whereas NASDAQ already diverged up into there, came lower. Oh, and at the same time, we had already taken out a low here. So we took out the low, especially YM. Nice big sweep. So yeah, I think we're gonna go lower before we go higher, but not sure. So yeah, nice divergence there. I don't think this one's important, but it did occur into a very clear pool of liquidity. For example, YM came down and touched last week's level, the week before its level, whereas nobody touched it here. besides Russell. So this alone might be the divergence there to go along, and it's just a matter of where is this going to actually reverse. So we got this divergence there. That might have been it. That might have been the delivery of that because let's see. If it's into a discount, then I would like it. But if not, then yep, reached a discount. So that might have been it. It could have that could be all I wanted to do before it's gonna roll over. And there we go. We got a nice clear divergence. So yeah, it honestly looks short until I don't know where I'd want to target on NASDAQ. There's no clear level unless we're gonna come all the way back down. Let's look at weekend Wall Street, see if we can get something. So we're down a little bit. Yeah, we're grinding back down to these lows. Nice liquidity sweep there. So yeah, we got a nice sweep here on manufacture those lows. Let me just, so those already were in play. Got the sweep and the divergence. Nice big long. So yeah, I think it's gonna go for these lows at least. This new week opening gap might have already played out, especially with this divergence. So lower, which means this is in play maybe here. This big pool of liquidity down here. So that'll be nice. The flows were bearish. Yeah, very bearish. We had the big bounce and they maintained the bearishness on Friday. Let's look at Q's. Yep, similar story. Holdings, wow, even more bearish. So yeah, I really like NASDAQ shorts down into those smooth lows at least, and then maybe eventually down into there. Um, yeah, we need more intel. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like we want. I kind of want to just see this gap right here. From here to here. Okay, just curious. Yeah, it just seems like this is gonna. It seems like it wants back down here, and that's typical when you start cutting as a tendency. So I think we're gonna want this order block at the least, which would look really bearish if we just displaced all the way down into that. Yeah, the first level I see is just yeah this daily lined up with the new week opening gap, the CE of that. So that's the first level. Maybe get a bounce, then finally roll over into the order block there, and took out the high there. This one failed, but yeah, it just looks like it wants that order block. But on 1 hour, yeah, we do. Excuse me. We inverted this on Russell. Russell took out that low there too. It's coming up here, and it may be triggering the short here. So we came up in PM, took out the low. We both came up, took out the high. I just think we're going to need a deeper move up to really trigger the short on Dow. So it may even come up here and sweep these smooth highs, which would be gnarly. Or, holy cow, yeah. If Russell came up here, that would be crazy. Yeah, anything up here and it could trigger a short. It might be complicated though, because it's like, honestly don't know where it will go. It could go all the way to the highs. Who knows? But there hasn't been a change in character here to like really get it to go. So I would think that it's just going to go at least for some high here. But yeah, this would be the very interesting high if it was to take this high. So there's no level there besides the daily, but maybe it would invert the new week opening gap. We've already used this as a level. We already took that low out. So maybe, yeah, I just think the daily. What is this gap? Came up, came down. I don't get what this gap is. What am I missing? What the heck is this gap? Was there a new week opening gap somewhere there? Or a new day opening gap? I don't know. But yeah, there's still a 1 hour inefficiency here. So we'll mark that out. Because that could be it. And that's aligned with this really nice, obvious order block. We go to the 15-minute. Yeah, it's just a 4 hour order block. So that makes sense to come up into the all-time high order block. So makes sense for this to come up into there, I think. We have a bearish 4 hour here, which we may be inverting. So I'm going to write yellow. Let's look at Russell flow. Russell bullish, and then we came to the lows, and it was bearish, and then it came back up, and it was bearish still. So I don't know. But it was oddly bullish on Thursday with a big put sell right at that low. This low here. One of these lows. So I could see it. Really bullish on Dow Jones, which doesn't usually get that much flow. So lots of call buying on this move up. So let's see here. But yeah, it's already traded into a premium, so yeah, I'd just be looking for Russell to kind of outperform, trigger the Dow Jones short. So, summary. Look for RTY SMT short idea. Uh, seems like an obvious short on yeah, it does seem like an obvious short here, but I also would like to, I mean, that was the entry. So I would want to see more of the smaller time frame before I kind of figure that out. But anyways, I also needed to look at these index charts for maybe some different levels that we're missing. So let's just look at the 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, here we go. This answers a lot of questions. Very obvious smooth lows, relative equal lows on NASDAQ. So there's the target on NASDAQ. Very, very obviously. We have more support resistance liquidity on Dow Jones. Very obvious. Same little inefficiency there being rebalanced. And we even have the relative equal highs on Russell still. So if we came down and swept this and Russell's holding up, I would actually really want to get long on Russell. So Russell, maybe a big long on RTY if we get the YM short to play. That's going to be awesome. So adding an alert there. As soon as it breaks that low. And ES isn't as clear, but you know, smooth highs on everything. Let's see if there's anything obvious on. Yeah, just let me just compare. So yeah, this honestly looks a lot cleaner on these charts. Same SMT though, right there. But yeah, I just think it's gonna come and dump down there and then eventually maybe head back up. We'll see. Yeah, that is that doesn't look good for the longs. So how's this gonna look for a short? Well, it didn't take out that AM high. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's already kind of playing out. We had a nice displacement there. I mean, it's not a shift, but I think it's gonna just head down before we get anything, and probably just gonna get a new week opening gap lower, and then it's just gonna use that maybe. But yeah, I'm liking this for. I like this Russell idea a lot. This is the actual high, so the entry looks clean. We'll enter just on there, and then Russell will probably keep heading higher while maybe we get some divergences. But I would probably just use. The problem is this high is like where to frame your risk. So it's like kind of hard because what if we, let's see, did we even get to a discount? Yeah. Shit. So yeah, it may just be ready to come back up and take this high still. So maybe a tricky one. But if it's going to come back up, I would want to use this order block. Yeah, probably. Yeah, just the 1 hour, the 5 minutes all the way up here. So we'll see. Yeah, it seems like this short's already in play. It seems like ES came higher while this came lower, so it seems like it is manipulating and it's going to come down again. But yeah, it's not as clear to me. I never understand these moves as well. Yeah, I don't understand it. I think it's just going to take all that out. There is a divergence here with these guys. So I think definitely from here the short is in play. Even just with this high. But this is the high. So yeah, maybe it moved back up above this high, maybe. And that would give a nice short on ES or Dow or NASDAQ. So yeah, maybe something above this PM high, maybe. Other than that, though, it seems like if these guys move below these lows without YM, then that might be a really nice long. So I'm just gonna set alerts on everything. Don't want to get too confused with too many ideas, but the Russell Nasdaq one, sorry, Russell Dow ideas seem really, really clear to me. So we'll see if we get some sort of short. I only want the short if these highs or if these lows haven't been taken. But the flows are supporting my bearish ideas, so initially I'll be looking for a short. Other than that, I think that's it. Dollar's gaining strength. The short on these currencies is looking really nice, though we may get a nice bounce here on the pound. We'll see. But this is kind of like this order block just seems really nice. Seems like there'd be something in here to get it to bounce. Probably just at least down into here. And similar situation here. And if we get a divergence with dollar breaking this low without euro, then that could, yeah, be a nice little intermediate term long opportunity on the euro. Gold, I still really like some sort of short idea, but I really need the commitment of trader data reports. When is a government shutdown going to end? Let's look up an update. I want to see something recently. Recent news. 13 hours ago. When is the next vote? Oh, it's tomorrow. Next vote is to and then scheduled for Monday, Senate, 3 p.m. So yeah, it won't happen till end of the day. Super annoying. All right, that's enough analysis for me. Time to take a little breather, mental breather. But yeah, seems like some good opportunities this week. I still think there may be really something nice in this, all this gold, silver trading. We did take out a lot of liquidity here on this dip, but with the way I don't know, the way that copper moved above that high without these seems really interesting to me. Maybe it wants to even go higher, but yeah. Alrighty, that's the plan.